welcome, everybody. Where are we? Wednesday today? Yeah, Wednesday today. Hello. If you're new, please write your name in the comments. I would love to meet you. My name is Kema, for those of you that are new to the Kamali Temple. Oh, how are we doing? So we have quite the conversation today that will certainly be expanding upon it, because it's such a not only valuable topic, but a deep topic and a multifaceted topic. Kimberly, hello, so nice to meet you. And so as you find your way into this space, you can just welcome yourself with a few breaths and an invitation, fully present into this moment. Grace, so nice to have you here. And so I'm not sure about any of you, but my relationship to my body has been one of the biggest I guess you could say, lessons and breakthroughs that I've really gone through. Never mind all of the other kind of life's challenges and twists and turns. But I find it very interesting that here we are, in essence, inhabiting this physical form, this body, yet it's not ingrained within us to form a healthy, loving connection with it. Instead, and this is, not only what we are taught, but what we observe from our parents and our grandparents and their parents. And I'll talk a little bit about this as well, because we are in a time now where we are being called to create a healthy relationship to our body. And we can't necessarily look to our parents or older generations as to how to do that. It's just not where the focus was. And through, not only how we've observed consciously, but also what we've registered subconsciously, compiled onto that, what we've been exposed to in media, marketing, things of that nature, we aren't necessarily encouraged to love ourselves, to love our body as it is. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. You're so welcome. And no, I don't teach Kundalini. I do often practice Kundalini yoga. I am a certified yoga teacher, but that chapter has come to an end. My work now is focused on energy work and teaching folks like you about themselves energetically and how to empower themselves energetically. And so I'm sure that we've all had our own journey, and a likely continuous journey, as to how we care for, listen to, treat, talk to this this soul meat suit. And what's so phenomenal about that, and which I certainly didn't know, because I knew that I did not have a great relationship to my body, nor did I want to be in my body. And a lot of the reason why I didn't want to be in my body is because of how I was constantly criticizing or judging my body, or whatever it was that was going on in my mind, creating the frequency that was then present in my physical form. It was not my preferred place to be. It was more comfortable to be checked out. But what happened, I mean, not only is that wildly disempowering, as I then started to step back into, I would say, my gifts, as I decided to consciously open back up, I had to face everything. I had to face everything that I didn't want to face before. I had to be and feel all of the discomforts, all of the things that had compounded over time. And as that occurred, not only was there a healing of the relationship to my body, but then the door was open to feeling not only what was going on within myself, which I had an awareness of what that energy was being created by. Thoughts, stored emotions, unprocessed emotions, things of that nature. But then in the same regard, I didn't realize truly that it was correspondent to feeling the energy of the outside world, feeling the energy of others. And in that, I realized that I had created this disempowering and unhealthy relationship energetically, where because I wasn't fully present in my body, I had this tendency of going into other people's bodies, picking up on the energy in my environment, because I didn't want to take responsibility for my own. And what that then perpetuated was even more judgment of other people's suffering and shadow, and an overwhelm, a feeling like, was I really meant to go and shut back down again? Because I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. And I'm saying this because this is something that has come up quite a bit in my client sessions this week, paired with this time that we're in, and just continuing the conversation that we had on Monday around, fear of feeling and opening up and becoming more sensitive, because it is in direct relationship to this home first and foremost, so that we can then exercise appropriate and healthy discernment, boundaries, know what to do with the energy that comes up, know how to care for ourselves with energy that comes up or what we pick up on. And it's also the home of our spirit. It's the home of our multidimensional beingness. It holds the seeds, the truth of all of creation. And so, as so many of us are asking to more so own and get to know our intuitive prowess, our psychic abilities, our spiritual gifts. The message that I keep receiving over and over and over and over from my guidance, which is why I created the crystalline embodiment course that I led back in April, that it's no longer just a activation of our third eye center that turns on our intuitive abilities. Our intuitive abilities, these gifts, are not just meant to be experienced on our meditation pillow. They're meant to be a full body experience. Our intuition lives in our body. And when we allow for that to occur, we then get to move our gifts from our meditation pillow or from that dream state and actually into our physical reality. And that is what we're being called forth to do. But if our relationship to our body isn't there, then what do we do with that yearning for more? What do we do knowing intuitively that there's more for us to experience in that regard? And it's not about what galactic guide I can connect with out there. Every single galactic guide is like, yeah, you think that this is a better place to reside, but we are guiding you home. We are guiding you home. We are guiding you home and showing you what it is needed for this to be a comfortable home within which you want to reside. They turn it around each and every time. When I've asked my guides how to teach about multidimensional beingness, they've expressed very clearly, it's not about teaching people how to go out. It's about creating the space within so that the multidimensional beingness and wisdom can land and then inherently express in waking reality. Because this is possible. It is possible for us to embody our multidimensional beingness. And I know this because this is what I live. This is what I teach. This is what comes through in almost each and every session that I do. I'm just going to take a little scroll up before I go down another one. We all have gotten something. I would be who I am today without the inherent challenge I receive. Exactly. And that's, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, Rai, because this is another aspect that has been coming up quite a bit over even just a common thread between even just the past 2 days, working with clients, that to see, like, as we are opening to our gifts, to our abilities, our sensitivities, our ability to feel and pick up on subtle energy, the reality is that we exist in a world of polarity. We ourselves are filled with polarity, and the polarity is there for a reason. The polarity is a part of Earth School for a reason, as a catalyst for our greater growth. That is why our soul chooses the relationships, the parents that are most challenging, because that is the polarity that we need in order to propel ourselves into our greatness, to have the most authentic path of learning and of growth. Because if it were all just like the rainbows and butterflies, yeah, great, and that is also a part of this experience, but it wouldn't be encouraging us to grow and to expand, and to do that in a way that is authentic and from within. I love that you shared that. Thank you. Losing weight due to trauma. Well, I would say first and foremost, knowing that the weight is a physical effect of an underlying energetic which you've expressed, knowing that the trauma has created an energy that has then created a response or reaction within your body. And so I would definitely recommend my upcoming course that I have, Psychic Body, that's going to be beginning on August 8th. I'm going to be leading a free masterclass next Sunday. The link is in my bio, where we're going to go into this topic even more, because what this will allow is for you to gain not only a greater understanding and insight around the underlying cause of a physical discomfort or a physical pain or something showing up in your physical reality that is not your preference. It always has an underlying energy, an underlying stored energy, an underlying belief, an underlying trauma in your case. So it's about, even though this could go much deeper, even in a one-on-one healing session, what is your relationship to the part of you who experienced that trauma? Take any other person out of the picture for now and come into, over time, a right relationship with that part of you. And it might have been multiple traumas. And so you get to decide, you get to create the safe and sacred space to do this. And once you create that safe and sacred space, turning off all distractions, lighting a candle, calling in your higher self and your support team, you get to call in those aspects of you and offer them love. Give them a voice. Let them be heard. Let them be experienced. Because what so often happens within trauma is that we put that part of us in a dark corner somewhere, and any time that they want to come out, we shame them, we judge them, we want to push them away. And so this is up to you to say, what are those baby steps to come into a more loving relationship to the part of you that experienced that trauma or those traumas? So that would be my recommendation for beginning. And then all of the other things that are tied to that, the behaviors, also begin to heal as a ripple effect. I have never liked to be in my body and recently discovered an injury, busted my vertebra, and now my body's in a brace and immobile, which is so much, and I've been in this space for too much. Well, sending is so much love, and I know that everyone that is here on this live can also send their overflow of love and healing your way. And again, as you likely know, and this can be hard for the part of us that is in that place of potential suffering or pain, but this is showing up for you for a reason. Nothing is random. And sometimes when things go to that severity, it is what is required to get our attention for change to occur. And that kind of a physical discomfort, illustrating you not being in your body, your central channel, which is your spine, it shows that disconnect that much more clearly. But this is kind of a reset for you. Just by tuning into your energy, this, even though it doesn't feel that way, it is actually a gift, and one that is kind of allowing you to wipe the slate so that in this process of recovery, you are actually able to come back more fully present into your body and actually learn how to move it, learn how to be with it as though you were a child coming into your body for the first time. And here too, you get to, in this state, energetically reside in your spine, communicate with your spine, communicate with your command center, and know that you get to decide the meaning that you give to this experience. And you can look at it from the victim standpoint, that this is happening to me, or you can look at it like it is a gift and this is happening for me for a reason. And your body was like, we're not doing this anymore. And I say this because I've worked with so many people that have had things show up in this way where life is saying you can no longer go on this way. And if you do, the lesson will be there until we're ready to approach and care for ourselves in a new way. And the invitation is returning to our body. It is not random that embodiment is spreading like wildfire. But it is also not random why we're so resistant to it. And this is a big piece as to why the psychic body course has been created. And please also know that how incredible, like even though when we're in that space, and trust me, I say this because I've also been through like the most challenging times in my life, told the narrative that I was being punished, that I had done something wrong, that I was never going to get out of it. Like there were so many different stories that I have told in those really low points. And now upon reflection, I know that that was not the case, and that I know on some level my soul chose that actually for my greater good, to ultimately propel me into a more empowered space, into a more loving space. And so in this space that you are in, notice those tendencies to judge rather than love what you are going through. Caring for yourself, even as you're going through waves of pain, discomfort, all the things that are not your preference. It is an invitation to step up and love yourself like never before. And I appreciate your vulnerability in sharing that. This resonates so much. I'm learning to truly connect and fall in love with my body only the last 2 years, really, after suffered a lot of bullying and trauma from toxic relationships. Yeah, another great example of how it's like, and look, I've done this too. It's like you have to get to those dead ends. Like, I cannot do this anymore. The sign is too clear. There is no other way than me no longer going down this path. I've done it. I've done it. And I'm just sending you so much credit for having the courage to connect and to fall in love with your body and with yourself. Like, this is huge. This is life-changing and has already changed your life and has changed your future and healed your past as a result. It's incredible. The way that this shift and change that you have stepped forth into has changed your future radically. I mean, changing your present radically. But how beautiful. I'm feeling this body and now know how much I need to take care of my body. Yeah, because we are I know that this is such a big topic. And why, we have been conditioned to be afraid of feeling. I think about my mom and my grandmother, and I'm like, they didn't want to feel. And especially if something was, my mom, mental health coming into the picture, it's but anything that felt like pain, felt like pain had to be numbed, needed to be fixed instantly. And we're in a new time. We are in a new time that we are being called forth to feel and to understand what these feelings are that are coursing through us. We just haven't had the context for it before, which made it even more confusing and more disempowering, and which is what carried us even further outside of ourselves for answers and solutions and fixes. The time has changed. And the more that we can understand what it is that we are feeling, the more that we come into the truth that we are an energetic being, a multifaceted, multidimensional being, light, dark, positive, negative, everything in between. And that what we are feeling is energy in motion. What we are feeling is a byproduct of our beliefs. We haven't even been taught about our beliefs. We haven't been taught about our subconscious mind. we've been programmed like a computer. But with awareness, with showing up, there is a new way. There is certainly a new way. So thank you for sharing that. It's gonna squee up, yep. Awesome. Definitely multiple. Thank you. I've been hitting a huge wall when it comes to stepping into my knowing. But what you said about it being a full body experience, yes. We're going to talk about that. Down under Australia. Hello, beauty. Welcome. I love everyone coming in from around the world. Brazil. Hey. Not a victim. It is for me, and I know. Awesome. Thank you all for sending her so much love. I'm assuming it's that you're her. I just love this community, us all coming together. Oh, you're so welcome. Love yourself, live life longer. Oh my God, that's the best name ever. That could be a whole nother rabbit hole conversation. Okay, I'm making like a couple notes here as to a few things I'd like to talk about on this topic. Right? Well, do you think that these challenges that we chose to reach our higher self are for education on connecting to multiple frequency of trauma? Can you reword that for me? Because it's not quite registering. Yeah, if you could just somehow reword that, that would be awesome. So, okay, where did I want to go back to? Full body experience, yes. Okay, so full body experience. And I know that so many of you can relate because I know that you are picking up on subtle energy all the time. You're picking up on subtle energy within your body based on what's being generated within your body as a byproduct, again, of your thoughts that are then influencing your emotions, right? Or your beliefs, conscious and subconscious, that are affecting your thoughts, that are affecting your emotions, that are then generating a feeling frequency. And we so often, we pay attention to the ones that are uncomfortable. We feel it sometimes in our gut. We feel it in our cells. When we go out in public, so many of you are picking up on the energy of your environment. Furthermore, we're going to talk about that. The full body experience is truly illustrating that your body is a psychic, is intuitive, holds greater wisdom than your mind. Whereas the feeling speaks louder than actions and words. The full body experience of feeling sends you the signals, the intuitive signals about, is this for me or is this not? There. Is this for me or is this not? And our body knows. But there's a lot of reasons why, if we were to sit and have an apple and an orange, we have two options. And if we were to ask our body, and this is like literal and metaphorical, our body has the ability to communicate to us through inner feeling which apple or orange is of most service, of our highest good. It has nothing to do with our mind logically saying, well, this has this amount of vitamins and this has this amount of nutrients, and I saw that my favorite yoga teacher loves apples in the morning, and da da da, and then we go and we toil in all the stories and all the things in the mind, and then we get anxiety, and then we don't even want either, because our mind got into the game and tried to dictate the experience, when ultimately it's an intuitive experience that our body knows far beyond words, far beyond logic, far beyond intellect, far beyond the facts. We know. And let's just say intuitively we're gravitating towards the orange. Okay, and then here's this other piece. Then we have to take responsibility that I chose the orange. And if I eat the orange, then what? I have to take the responsibility for how that makes me feel. Was it the right choice? So we get the feeling, our body knows, and then it responds. And then there's this whole exchange. I mean, look, this can get so drawn out. Okay, so then you decide on the orange. In honor of your body, how are you eating the orange? You get to decide. Are you sitting down? Are there a multitude of distractions? Are you thinking about all the things you have to do? Are you da 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 da? Are you telling a story like what are the stories that you're telling? Are you rushing? Are you taking your time? Are you actually tasting the orange and enjoying the taste and the smell and the juices? Are you eating it slowly and sensually? Are you chewing it the appropriate amount of time? This is available to all of us. That we get to exercise our free will, not only the choosing, but the experience of it, how we exchange with that thing. So, the whole body knows. And if we eat something or digest something, and this is not just, again, this is like literal and metaphorical, because we unconsciously choose things all the time, or we consciously choose things that are not in our highest for a reason. However, okay, let's say you eat something, or you put something in your body, or you watch something or read something that's toxic. Your body will let you know. Your body will let you know. You'll get a stomach ache, and you get a stomach ache not just when you eat something that doesn't sit well. It's when you digest anything that doesn't sit well. And so again, this takes an acknowledgement that I am an energetic being exchanging with energy all day long, physically, right, through the actual physical food, but also energetically through the choices that we make. And if I'm feeling uncomfortable, then it's required to take a responsibility and offer love to yourself either way and say, wow, what did I choose to ingest today? How did I ingest it? And then, if you're willing, you get to make a new choice the next time and say, wow, maybe it's not in my highest to listen to the news first thing in the morning or ever. Or listen to that, whatever it is, you get to choose. You get to decide not only what you ingest, but how you ingest it. What is that experience? And this requires a conscious exchange with your daily flow and a conscious honoring of your body and your energy. So to take that now into another kind of field of reference. Something that I hear so often from clients is the overwhelm that they experience when going out into the world, because when they are picking up on like the denser and more uncomfortable feeling frequencies. And I've talked about this in quite a few lives, but it's relevant to this because we're experiencing the byproduct of energy within our body. And the solution is not piling on all the black tourmaline and all the shields. That is of the past. Again, are they in their body? Are they taking care of themselves first? Are they creating a relationship to their full spectrum beingness? Because that which alarms us in our external environment, like the reality is, if we go out into the world, we not only are we a multifaceted, multidimensional being with these existent polarities within ourselves, some conscious, some subconscious or unconscious, but then we go out into the world and everyone is going through this as well. As we just talked about at the beginning of this live, the purpose of polarity. And so knowing that when we go out into the world, yeah, there are going to be people that are doing the work, healing and like doing their morning mantras and like actually taking care of themselves and are a delight to be around. But even they have polarity within their beingness, have traumas that they have worked on or are working through, have beliefs that are, this is a never-ending process. And then we also know that there are people out there that aren't doing the work and their energy, quite frankly sucks. But it's not our job to ever take it on. But because we don't know what to do with that energy, because we don't honor that we don't need to hold on to it out of like some sort of illusion that we're like protecting ourselves by being in a constant alert of our environment, we can say, oh wow, I'm observing that person is suffering. They might not even know. That just might be their natural state. So why would it be our job to then take it and judge it and do all the things, rather than, we talked about this, I think even on Monday, we wouldn't just give it up to their angels and say, you handle this. And then because we've been caring for our body and being so mindful about what we're putting into it, we then have an energetic overflow to send blessing and compassion to that person that we're picking up is suffering. We have that ability. And the reality is, it is a gift that you are able to pick up on the multiple streams of energy that exist. But if you are being triggered by someone else's unhealed energy, it is always an invitation leading you back home to say, what is the shadow within myself that is going left unhealed or unloved? And that's not to say that it's all to be like light and love all the time, but it is also to say that love can always be present. Even when, you can love and learn to love and care for the shadow aspects of you, the unhealed parts of you. You're not telling them to be anything other than they are. And the more that and I say this from my own experience, the more that you heal, the more that you create a relationship to your own polarity, the better equipped you are to navigate it, and the less triggered you will be by it when you step out into the world. And you then step out into the world with the knowing that my energy matters. Because as we create right relationship with our body, our sense of self improves. Our natural confidence improves. The knowing that we have something valuable to share physically and energetically improves. And so we can show up in those places of our choosing, and we get to say, I'm here for a reason. And the reason is not, I'm going in like this and everything's coming in. It's I'm going in like this. My energy field is strong and it is big. And if I pick up on something, I know what to do with it. So that could, look, I could talk about that all day. Just gonna scroll up a little bit, see where we are. So I'm not exactly sure how to say your name, but I'm assuming it's Grail. And that I hope that whole talk just covered that, because it is not about blocking. It's just not. It's not about blocking or protecting anymore. That's not as like, I'm not saying that as that we are not here to exercise boundaries, to exercise discernment, but how do we even know how to be discerning if we're not tuning in to the energies that we're picking up? Discernment is picking up on what is resonant and what is dissonant, and making a choice based on that input that we receive. Is this for me or not? And then we get to exercise the power of choice. Just like with the apple and the orange, just because I chose the orange, I'm not like, apple, you suck, apple, you're the worst. I'm just like, this is what is resonant with me today. And just like you choosing to be in a relationship or not to be in a relationship, choosing to that job or not to be in that job, or that friendship or not to be in that friendship, choosing to go for a walk here or go for a walk there. It is about you owning your energy, being in your body, and then exercising your energetic sovereignty that says, I get to choose what to do with my energy. And how am I caring for my energy every single day, because it matters. If I was not taking time to care for my energy every day, just because I'm doing energy work, I have been drained doing energy work. Because this wasn't in right relationship. So it doesn't matter like what you do, that needs to be there. Having trouble deciding, is this for me, feeling through my body, or is it just a difficult up-leveling that makes me break through my barriers and learn to trust? I love this. And you know what? I think about this often, and I give this advice to clients often, because sometimes we're not meant to make the choice in the moment, even though like our ego or our mind would prefer. Because we are up-leveling and expanding, healing rapidly. And I think about this within myself sometimes. I'm like, can I even trust like myself last month for making a decision that's going to affect myself in this month? Because I know next month I'm going to have already expanded subtly, but also like exponentially. So it's like learning to be compassionate, that there is like no right or wrong decision ultimately, and that it's not about perfection, and knowing that when the time is right, you will know, you will feel it. Trouble deciding. That's for me. And so my invitation would be, start building that muscle in the really small ways first. The apple or the orange. Feel into what would be, ask body, what would be the best thing for breakfast? Where would feel the best to go for a walk? Not like where you read was the best place to go for a walk, not where your neighbor loves to go for a walk. You ask your body something really simple every day, as many times as you want, and you start to feel into that, because it's just an in the moment thing. And then as that starts to build, then the bigger things get to come into the mix. Thank you for sharing that. I can't reword it fairly for chat, so I'll DM you with some insight to my life. Might clear things up. Cool. And what I think that perhaps, Rye, you may have been, and tell me if I'm right, but it kind of seemed like you were expressing that have these challenges that, or these lessons that we've signed up for somehow bring us into a deepened relationship with our higher self. You can tell me if that's more along the lines of what you were asking, if I'm interpreting it correctly. In which case, our higher self, our spirit, is ever present. But do these lessons and challenges, are they here to bring us into a deepened relationship with love, with loving ourselves, with the frequency of love? Absolutely. And so Sheila, I definitely just answered that. So if there's anything else, you can tell me. I can tell for sure firsthand people in my life notice trauma, but to me it was just my life. Yeah, I get what you're saying with that. There becomes kind of like a desensitization. So again, there is an aspect of the and this is in reference to our body, because not only does the trauma or whatever experience, let's just say getting made fun of on the playground. Say then you get made fun of on the playground every day. And so it becomes normal. You're just used to it. You know where to go, where to hide. You don't get as hurt anymore. Maybe in the beginning you would cry or da. But regardless, there is a narrative in the younger self's mind that gives meaning to that experience or that continued experience. This is what that says about me. This is what that says about me. And then it keeps happening, and so it confirms or affirms, this must mean I suck, this must mean I'm not worthy, this must mean I'm unlovable, this must mean I will never have friends, this must mean I will never be be able to make anything of myself, this means I'm ugly, this means that there's something wrong with me, the whole thing. So everything that we've really gone through to that degree, or any experience that we've had, we have assigned meaning to it. And it is the meaning that creates the energy that is stored in our field. And so while it might feel normal over time, the energetic imprint is still there and likely still playing out based on the meaning, which then created a belief that you then believe to be true about yourself consciously and subconsciously. And then life, because of the way that the subconscious works, will always reflect that belief back to you to confirm it to be true. Incredibly inspiring to hear you speak about all of this. Thank you for sharing your profound knowledge. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here to receive this message. Just feel like I connect with the darker people, but I'm full of love and always been through my trauma. I can relate to different stages of frequency and pull them to their higher self. Oh, I've been there. Get it. Yeah, because this is again, and so this isn't so much about the body, but I guess it kind of is. This, for me, I felt more comfortable around darkness because as a sensitive soul, as an intuitive soul, this is so wild. So when I was younger and I was able to pick up on underlying energy, I was raised exposed to healers, the yoga community, and a lot of people that you would say are of the light. But me being having the ability to see underneath the surface, but not realizing that that's what I was doing, it was very confusing for me. But I would see light, but being presented, but all I could see was the darkness underneath. But this is happening with with everyone. But for me, it created such a polarity that I was like, this doesn't feel real. Like they're not to be trusted because they're presenting this thing, but this isn't their truth. So, because of that, I felt more comfortable. I felt more safe around folks that were very much in relationship to their shadow and had no problem exemplifying sharing their shadow. I felt safer because the full spectrum was exposed all the time. And so there was no like questioning like what was real. It was just all out on the table. Everyone's addictions, everyone's habits, everyone's whatever were out there. And so I felt more safe, even though it actually was not a safe environment. So I appreciate you sharing that. And whether or not that, resonates with where you're coming from. But it's like everyone is on their own journey. And yes, we can be a light and a guide for others by being, but not at the expense of ourself. Always, being there for ourselves first and foremost. And then if there's overflow, that can be shared. And remembering that often, the words help and the actions help, but first and foremost, it's an energy through which you're leading by example. And everyone, no matter what the advice is, you could give the most loving, highest wisdom, advice ever to another person. But if they are not at a place to receive it, or in a place where they can be willing to make those changes for themselves or want to, it's a lot of expended energy that then leaves us feeling drained. So there's an exercise of discernment there as well. I'm a teacher, however, it is difficult for me. Look, we're all teachers because just by existing, we are sharing an energy. And that is, in essence, like whenever we show up, our energy is a teacher through our way of being. Acting to negative towards darker people, and I feel I have to disconnect completely. Yes, and so this is again like where boundaries come into place. I know for myself, the first time I learned about boundaries, it like sent my body into a panic because I was so scared of not having any friends, of not having people like me, or of not fitting in. And I thought, wow, if I'm creating boundaries, like that would mean that like I'm pushing more people away, that I'm going to be liked even less, that I'm going to have even less friends. But that's not the truth. When you begin to honor your worth, honor your body, honor your energy, and make choices that are in alignment with that and respect that in social dynamics or familial dynamics, you still then get to exercise that yes or no. And if it is not a serving relationship, you get to say no with anything. And then that is where you get to set those boundaries for you. That is up to you. That is not up to the other person. The other person can exist in their world, going through their own journey just as well. It's not about you pulling them towards you. It's about you. It's an invitation to exercise discernment. You get to say yes or no. Just because you heal, just because you are spiritual, just because you are growing on your spiritual path does not mean that you get a free ticket from meeting negative people. It just means that you can exercise discernment, hopefully with greater ease. Awesome. I have learned that I only give advice to those who ask for it. Then they can, yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And I've learned that the hard way. Being an Aries sun, before I realized that, like, luckily, like, I do the work that I do where people are asking, because, oh my God, I would just spit it out all the time. And it's like, no one asked for that. No one asked for that. It's staying in your lane and waiting for them to ask, and remembering that you are, again, leading by example all the time, and people are picking up on that on a subtle level. Repeat yourself, and I love your insight on trauma and addiction. Yeah, I mean, I would just recommend when I repost this IGTV that you give it a watch, because I talk quite a bit about how that is stored in the body. But what we'll also do, I mean, I highly recommend, and invite you all into not only the free Psychic Body Masterclass happening next Sunday, the 25th, but then I'm leading a 4-week course that we're going to dive fully into all of this. And so it's not just me, again, speaking to you, it's you actually getting to experience it for yourself and able to apply it to your own personal story. But basically, the energy or an addiction is a effect of an underlying energy. So it's not just the addiction itself, right? As we know, like with the term, like a dry alcoholic, right? It's the underlying energy that is asking for healing, and the underlying energy that is creating the addiction or the pattern as a result. And what that does, especially if it's a trauma, where it leaves us feeling out of control, that is an energy. What do we do then to regain our control? Because we're still playing out that pattern, that if that trauma, the meaning that we gave to it, the whole experience of feeling out of control is still existent in our field. It is still then, if we're feeling out of control, we are going to do whatever we can to feel in control. And addiction is a way that we do that. That's just one example. Body is confused. Yeah, and the more that you show up, the more that you care for your body, the more that it starts to calm, because these are all the things that are in the way from our body's natural psychic abilities. They are in there. They're in there right now. It's just that all of these layers have been piled on top, all of the beliefs, all of the familial patterns, all of the experiences that we've gone through in our life, all of these things that are compiling, all the things we're plugging into all the time, right? Energetically and physically, are taking us out of this place. So sitting with yourself every morning and just with your breath, those layers peel away. There is that essence within you that begins to emerge, and that is the space that can be trusted. That is the place that gives you that signal when you say, I want to feel into, is this a yes or a no? That is the space that can be trusted. But it requires exercising of the free will and showing up for yourself in that way. Aries 2, I feel you. Awesome. Sagittarius Mercury for me. So funny, I pulled that exact card after a healing session in Mexico. Oh, wow, that's funny. Setting boundaries. My mom is met with silent treatment and passive aggressive. How to practice discernment with parents if you feel it's not aligned. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this quite a bit on here. Again, it's not like what your parents' response or reaction is ultimately not your responsibility and says nothing about you. She is on her own path. She is going to respond and react based on her beliefs, her experiences. And while she is your mother, and in the most ideal world, you would have an amazing relationship with her, and it would all be reciprocated, and it would all be love and all the things, but it is placed as a dynamic for you for your greater growth. And it takes a lot of courage, and so I honor you for that, for setting boundaries with her, because you are honoring your energy. If she can't handle that, right? You can just surround her with blessings and let her, call in her angels, but she is ultimately going on her own journey. And by doing the silent treatment, right, is an act of passive aggressiveness, manipulation, all the things. But this is a guide for you as to, wow, if you weren't seeing those frequencies, those behaviors that clearly, you could very easily have become that or embodied that. So even though not your preference, it is a gift that you are seeing it that clearly, because it is your guide of who and what your own values are and what it is that you stand for and want to embody for yourself, potentially children, or just future generations in general. Discernment. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yes, I do one-to-one. You can click the link in my bio. We'll send you right there. You'll see a list, and when it says book a single session, you can click that link. I also do one-on-one monthly mentorship. Awesome. Cool. Well, what a conversation. Thank you all for being here. And don't worry, this is just going to get continuously cracked open, because the body, the only way to is through the body. And that is why I highly recommend too that invite, you do what you want, exercise your free will. But I invite you into the masterclass that I'm leading next Sunday. We're going to talk about this even more. And then there will be a special invitation for everyone that's there. We'll have a special early bird price that only those that tune into the masterclass will have access to for the 4-week psychic body course. And I'll talk more about that over the next week or so. And please reach out if you have any questions about that, or any topics that, if you're like, yes, I already know, I'm such a yes, and this is a topic that I've just been dying to learn about, send me a DM and let me know. Because we're all working, it's like, not only do we have our own issues with our relationship to our body, then we have all of the energies that our body is not only storing and assimilating and digesting, piled on top of it. And underneath it all, there is this beautiful wisdom. And so that's where we're going, because we deserve it. You deserve it. It will be, if you click the link, it'll take you to a Facebook group. It's going to be live in a Facebook group, so that we can send, messages and share experiences and just get the conversation going even prior to the master class. Oh, so much love to you all. I appreciate you all so much. And I look forward to meeting again in our next big deep dive into this wild world of being a human. So much love your way.